Good evening. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. So happy you can join me this evening as we celebrate a little bit of Mother's Day together, as we stop for a moment to breathe and to really embrace this mother energy. I have a wonderful talk tonight on, well, I did a talk this morning at the CSL in Cape Coral and called it the divine feminine is not a gender. God is not a gender, right? So we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. For those of you who are new to me, my name is Reverend Denise Schubert. I am a New Thought minister. I am streaming to you live from North Fort Myers, and it is just my pleasure to be here. I call this Sunday Night Alive, and my particular slant on the whole thing is that our spirituality should be practical. And my organization is called A Life of Spiritual Power, which is in contrast to a life of human powerlessness. And so we're here to find practical ways to be spiritual, to express the divinity within us, to make what we read and study and practice, our meditation, all of it, to eminently show up in our private lives in powerful and wonderful ways. But before we get into the topic, two things. One is, if you're here, if you would say hello on the chat, just say hello to me. Let me know you're here. I love knowing who I'm in community with. So, but I have a couple of jokes, a little bit of humor. I like a little bit of humor. I find that if you can make people laugh, sometimes they listen to you better, a little more clearly. So one is that Susie and John were 13 and 9-year-olds. And this morning on Mother's Day, they made her stay in bed. So they would not let her get out of bed. So the kids go downstairs and she's laying in the bed and she's enjoying the smell of bacon cooking and coffee. And I think there's a hint of a cinnamon roll in there. And she's waiting and waiting and waiting. And pretty soon she just goes downstairs because she can't wait up there anymore. And the kids are down in the kitchen chowing down bacon and eggs and cinnamon rolls. And she looks at them and she goes, "What?" And she goes, "Happy Mother's Day, Mom. You don't have to cook us breakfast this morning." Cute, right? Though I like the second one a little bit better. So Philip is 32 years old, and he's been trying to find a woman to spend his life with. And he finds women. He's very attractive and smart, but his mother doesn't like any of the girls he brings home. So he's talking to a friend of his, and the friend said, "Well, I think maybe you should try to find a girlfriend more like your mother, and then your mom might like her." So Philip thinks this is a relatively good idea. So he does. He goes out and he looks and he finds a woman who kind of looks like her, what his mom might have looked like when she was younger, and kind of had the same color hair. Takes her home, and he's having lunch with his friend a few days later, and his friend goes, "Well, how did it go? Did your mother like your new girlfriend?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, my mom loves her, but my dad couldn't stand her." Har. So those are my Mother's Day humor for you today. So let's take a yeah, thank you, Facebook user. Why does all this say Facebook user and not your names? I'm very confused by this. I think maybe I'm blocking names or something, but I will figure it out. At any rate, let me pray us in. So just take a moment with me at the end of this day. You may have plans later tonight with your for Mother's Day, but for now, let's just take a moment and breathe. Release any tension you're holding in your body or in your mind. Any stress and tension of the day. And join me as we turn within to the place within us, the space within us that is the seat of both masculine and feminine, the seat of all that there is, this amazing power and presence and energy that I call God, spirit, the universal intelligence, unlimited, unconditional love, unlimited wisdom. It is who we are. It's where we come from. And so we activate that in our time together as I bless this week's Sunday Night Alive, calling it good and very good, knowing that we all took the time to be here. And because of that, we are able to reap the benefits, the kernels, the pearls of wisdom. And so for all of this and so much more, the blessings we give, the blessings we receive, I give thanks. We let this be, and so it is. Amen. Hi, David. Yeah, so I'm thinking that somehow I've blocked your usernames. So I will work on that. But, we have usernames, so that's good. All right, so when we celebrate, so we do celebrate Mother's Day, and we are celebrating our mothers, and we're celebrating really everyone who is a mother, but we're not necessarily celebrating people who have had children, and we're not necessarily only celebrating women, because mothering, we're actually celebrating the essence and nature of what mothering means, or really we could call it the feminine energy, which is the presence of God as unconditional love. So when we talk about unconditional love, we're actually talking about feminine energy. So the degree that you experience that, or the degree to that you give that, makes you really part of the mothering influence. This could obviously be anyone who cares for children. So it could be a father, a brother, an uncle, a grandfather, anybody who cares for animals, anybody who cares and loves animals is mothering. Anybody who cares for and loves the earth is mothering. So all of that is really is the role of the divine feminine in the balance between feminine and masculine. God is, so one of the key components of this philosophy, faith, and way of life that I teach, and that we talk about is us having let me back up for just a moment. Human beings do evolve. We have evolved. We continue to evolve. It was not that long ago, really, not that long ago at all, that modern day humans came to be. And when they came to be, they were at a certain level of consciousness. And over the past, especially the last 100 to 200 years, that we have evolved into such we have cultivated our consciousness in such a way that we're building airplanes and cell phones and televisions and spaceships. And it's unbelievable how quickly we have evolved and continue to evolve. I won't be here myself personally, but I cannot imagine what this planet will look like 100 years from now. And I'm deeply hoping that the work we all do here now will somehow contribute to it being a more loving place. But part of the evolution that human beings are going through is a whole reorganization and reawakening to this word God. Now, all human beings for all time and have wanted there to be a God, that there's something built into us where we know that there's something more than we are. We know that we're not here alone. We know that we didn't create ourselves. But the older idea about God is really that God is a male, God has a body, and God is in heaven or somewhere. So we are evolving out of that idea into a new idea, one which is that God is not a man. God is not a woman either. God is androgynous. However, as we'll explore tonight, God does contain the energies of feminine and masculine, which have nothing to do with genitalia. They have nothing to do with the body. They have to do with energies. I find it very interesting. There's this whole movement in young people now who obviously are evolving as well with us. There's this whole movement towards non-gender association. I don't want to be identified as female. I don't want to be identified as male, because they are pressing up against how those identifications have limited us, or how those identifications have impacted us. And the truth is, within every human body is both feminine and masculine. Now, it might be useful to break down a little bit just what those characteristics are, because this isn't theoretical. I want you to be here, taking what I'm saying personally and looking, because there are women who display more masculine energy than feminine energy, and there are more men who demonstrate feminine energy rather than masculine energy. And as a society, we're not very good with those people, right? We like the predictable expression of what we think the expression should be. So the masculine energy is primarily active, doing, making stuff happen, building things, running things, decisiveness, will, imagination, vision, dreaming, declarations. The masculine energy is let's get stuff done energy. The feminine energy is more nurturing, receptive, silent, quiet, patient, accepting, loving, caring, pliable. And both of those are contained within us. Now, the conversation, I'm going to actually refer to my Science of Mind roots for a minute in just a second, because Ernest Holmes does a very interesting interpretation of masculine and feminine according to the Science of Mind, Philosophy, Faith, and Way of Life, which for me, when I was 45 and walked into a church, it was like somebody handed me the rule book for life. It's like up until then, I was running blind. Like what am I supposed to do? How does it work around here? That's really the question. How does it work around here? And unfortunately, I don't know about you, but my parents, although they were wonderful parents and I adore them, they were not what I would call spiritually evolved people. They were not transformed or enlightened. They didn't know that God sent me through them, and that their job was to make sure that I knew I was wonderful and could do anything I wanted to do and could thrive in life and give my divine gifts. They certainly did not know that. So that isn't how I was raised. I was raised like everyone else, like, the life of hard knocks and whatever all that is. So in the, let me just go to the, I'm just going to go, you'll lose me, but you're going to get the chart. So for those of you who are streaming in, or for those of you who are watching this after the live stream, this is the Science of Mind teaching symbol, and it's used to explore the nature of God. So in the exploration of the nature of God, Ernest Holmes talks about spirit, soul, and body. Now, spirit sometimes can be used, spirit can be used interchangeably, but for now we're not doing that, because God actually is the whole thing. And these are all different aspects of God: spirit, soul, and body. And because we were made in the image and likeness of God, this is also who we are. We have within us the spirit, the soul, and the body. So there isn't, so we are also in many ways androgynous, since we were made in the image and likeness of that which made everything. But you'll see in here, spirit, soul, and body. Spirit is conscious mind, and it is the conscious mind, by the way, that is the masculine energy, according to Ernest Holmes, that it is the energy that plants seeds. It is the seed planter. It is the energy that makes things happen, It's the energy that's active. Now, once a seed is planted, and on the right-hand side of this, you'll see seed, soil, and plant, which is the common analogy used to help people understand that the conscious, and the conscious mind also, by the way, is light. So when we say light and dark are the same, we are talking about the lightness of spirit and the darkness of gestation. Because when a seed is planted, and if you use the carrot seed analogy, it's actually almost very clear to understand that when a carrot seed is planted, into the soil, it is taken from the light and put into a dark place, which is called, science mind calls it the creative medium, into the soil, which is dark, and it is in the soil that it is nurtured and receives all of the whatever it needs to receive in order to become a carrot. Now, the building blocks of this creative medium are the same building blocks used to grow a carrot or create a human, grow a tree or an elephant. It's just a matter of the ingredients. And you'll see, I'm going to refer back to my pantry in a minute. But the soil is a quiet, dark place where seeds are grown until they are ready to be visible in the world, which is then the body of God. So we are the body of God. Every carrot, every tree, every elephant, every one of us. So you can see here, that the masculine and feminine are all part of the same energy, that there's no difference, and you can't have one without the other. So if you're a modern day man, I'll come back here. I'm trying to get back to you. So if you're a modern day man, and this is just useful, or woman, but in terms of the masculine energy, if you're a modern day man and you are, it's always been considered really cool to be very masculine and manly. And that is it's absolutely necessary to get things done in the world, absolutely necessary to start projects and plant seeds of ideas and plans and companies and all those things. Absolutely necessary. Nothing happens without conscious seed. Nothing happens without planting seeds. But once the seeds are planted, nothing happens without nurturing them. Nothing. So it may be that we're not really talking about building buildings. We're really talking about creating a loving spiritual world. We're really talking about growing seeds of peace and seeds of love. And though the process is still the same in the body of God, if there's no peace, it's because people are not sowing seeds of peace. It's because they're sowing seeds of fear or hate. When you plant a seed into the soil, and by the way, in the soul part of this equation, that part also contains all the substance necessary to wrap the seed of a carrot so it looks like, smells like, feels like, and tastes like a carrot. Also keep in mind that this soul of God, this creative medium, has no willpower, no decision-making capacity. So the soil cannot say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to grow a carrot today. I'm not feeling very well. It cannot say, oh, I don't like carrots. I'm going to grow apples instead. That isn't possible in this philosophy, faith, and way of life. It isn't possible if this is truly how the world works. If you plant a carrot seed, you are going to get a carrot. If you plant a seed of loneliness, you are going to be lonely. If you plant a seed of prosperity, you are going to be prosperous. There's a wonderful quote by Earl Nightingale. It says, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. So this is the instruction booklet for living this life. And I know that it sounds like, well, can it really be that easy? Can it really be that easy that you just plant a seed of prosperity and you become prosperous? Well, it is that easy. And it's not that easy because we're human beings who haven't had the instruction book. Now, I was 45 before I received it. And so I was kind of being just blown around by life. I was kind of a drama queen. I was kind of, I was not in charge of what I was doing or where I was going or why I was going there. I was not in charge of my emotions or my thinking. I was at the effect of the world I live in. Most of us are at the effect of the world we live in. We are not in charge of the world we live in. Now, one very, very important thing, I'm going to go back to this in a moment, right now, actually. In this diagram, in the subconscious mind, which is also called the subjective, also the home of feminine energy, also known as a seed grower, not only is there all substance, but there's all memory. So how this works is whatever, so the subconscious is full of old things, which is past memory, and also new things, which is new seeds being planted. If you are not planting, so listen very carefully, because this is such a big clue. If you are not planting new seeds, you are going to get old plants. So let me give you an example. If when you were 5 years old, your mother declared upon you, oh, you're never going to be able to dance, or you're never going to amount to anything. These are the kinds of things, by the way, our unenlightened parents said to us. You're dumb as a doorknob. And we have great beliefs around this. Like, you don't fall far from, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Psh, throw that out. But if you're not planting new seeds, what is going to be produced in your life as circumstances and conditions are from old memories, old subconscious things that you may not even be. Nobody walks around saying, oh, I'm dumb as a doorbell. Nobody does that. But if you believe it, if it was said to you and you believe it, you are going to manifest it. That is what you're going to see in your life. So it's really important that we become conscious seed planters instead of unconscious seed planters. Because whatever's lodged in there, not only for you personally, but also that's also the home. We share all this space. So we have a personalized expression of God, but we also have a collective expression of God, which is why when you look into the universe, you'll see discord and war and atrocities. It's because there is a historical memory of what it means to be human that has not been overpowered by conscious seed planting of love. So the more love, the more of us that begin to wake up and to take control of our lives through our minds, through our thinking. And by the way, this isn't, there are people who have known, who have been fully aware of the rule book. Ernest Holmes was aware of what the rule book was. Jesus was. Jesus says, it is done unto you as you believe. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Mahatma Gandhi said, a man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. Louise Hay said, I do not fix problems, I fix my thinking, and then my problems get fixed. And all of these people are talking about how the end result that you get is a function of whatever's put into this creative medium or this feminine place. Ernest Holmes called it the womb of creation. Actually, I had a beautiful quote. Let me see if I can find this beautiful quote. Well, maybe not. That's okay. So, oh yeah, so here it is. The universal soul in man, men and women, obviously, the universal soul in women, in the humans, is a subjective or subconscious intelligence. The universal medium or soul has been called the womb of nature and the Holy Mother because it is receptive to the spirit and is impregnated with divine ideas, and it gives birth to the ideas of the spirit and is therefore the feminine principle in nature. It's a very beautiful, powerful idea. Now, last week, I mentioned briefly and am continuing to be inspired by my love of MasterChef, which is a competitive cooking show. Sorry, I'm going to get rid of this. But it's a beautiful, beautiful analogy, because if you're the head, so in the show, there is a pantry. And in the pantry is every conceivable ingredient. I mean, there isn't anything you could think of that you would want to put in your cake that isn't in the pantry. There's flour and eggs and milk and sugar and coconut milk and chocolate chips, and there's vegetables and meat and spices and cooking contain. I mean, it is the most beautiful. I would be like dying going to heaven to be in this pantry. But if you think about it, nothing happens in the pantry without a head chef. So the head chef is going to direct what is to be used out of the pantry in order to cook the dish he's envisioning to be cooked. So it's like the body, and that is the cake. You know, the cake and the head chef are related to each other. And in the middle is this beautiful place of preparation, this beautiful place of choosing what's going to go into the creation of what has been imagined or dreamt about or envisioned. Most of us have lived our whole lives not knowing how life got to be the way it is, not understanding where everything we can see, touch, feel, taste, and smell, where did it come from? Who made it? Now, if you're living in an idea that God's out there and we're over here and God's all powerful and we're puny, it's hard to take responsibility for what's been created. But it is to me self-evident. We have been begging that God to fix things around here forever, to fix our relationships, to fix our bodies, to fix the violence, to take care of the hungry people. I mean, we have been, do you know how many billions of prayers have been spoken to that misconception of what God is? Instead, we are given this beautiful idea that even though I am not all God is, all I am is God. And so within me, because I'm made in the image and likeness of that, I have within me the triune nature of the divine, spirit, soul, and body. I have the ability to plant seeds and create. Within me is a subjective which takes those, I say I am prosperous enough, as Earl Nightingale said, if you are committed to it, dedicated to it, devoted to it, study it, breathe it, dance it, it cannot help but come into manifestation. It cannot help but appear before your very eyes. Masters know this. And Ernest Holmes used to say the first 3 chapters of the Science book textbook are about what it is, what it does, and how it works. And this is essentially the whole Science of Mind teaching in a 20-minute stream. It works like MasterChef. Spirit is directive and the masculine energy. Feminine is the creative principle and is the nurturing energy. And when the seeds are planted and they're nurtured, they show up as circumstances, conditions, people, places, and things in life. And if we don't like the people, places, and things and circumstances and conditions, you just plant new seeds. Now, this is a little bit of a challenging take on life, because it makes us creators and not victims. It causes us to look at responsibility as our divine mandate. And it's tricky because we live on a planet with 7 billion people and not everybody knows how it works around here. So, fear and jealousy and envy and mean people, all of that still exists. That's not going to go away anytime soon because it's part of our race consciousness. But it can go away where you are. All you have to do is decide. That's it. You just decide to take control of your mind and to manage what you think. I had this beautiful quote last week, which is one of my favorites from Gandhi, which is, I'm going to have to paraphrase it. Essentially, he said something to the effect of, I do not let anyone with dirty feet walk through my mind. Right? So we have to be careful what we let into our thoughts, now that we know that internal space is so influential over what actually happens in the world. So my gift to you for this Mother's Day is the Rule Book of Life. It's the Rule Book of Life. And if you want to study more, just find yourself a Centers for Spiritual Living, pick up an Ernest Holmes book, meditate, journal. My teacher, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, used to say that we learn in one of two ways. Now, everybody will awaken to their divinity at some moment, and it won't be that far off because we are evolving so fast that we are sure to come to different conclusions than we've come to for a long time. The truth is that the universe has been governed for the most part by this masculine energy at the forefront. And I'm in no way disrespecting masculine energy, in no way saying it's not a good thing, because without it, nothing will get done. Without it, nothing happens. But without love, without feminine energy, without love and silence and stillness, it has ended up being created kind of a harsh world. And we are quickly moving into a more androgynous existence. I can feel it coming. So I have great hope. I'm not worried, even though it may not really happen in my lifetime, but I have been planting these seeds for about 25 years. And I've been working these principles myself for about equally as long. And manifestation comes quite easily to me. I believe it. I trust it. And by the way, you don't have to worry too much about what's in your subconscious and all that yucky stuff that's in there. Don't worry about it. Just plant new seeds. You could till your garden. If you get to pull weeds every now and again, that's really great. But you have to trust that if you want something badly enough and you are willing to own it and accept it, and that you're worthy of it, as long as you don't go pulling up the carrot seeds before you see them, it will come to pass. Could you imagine, when you put a seed in the soil, it could be weeks before you see proof of a carrot. It could be, you put an acorn in the ground, it could be months, it could be years before you actually see the growth break ground. And if you keep digging it up to see if it's really growing, you thwart its appearance. You could even prevent it from growing at all, and then you have to go plant another one. You have to trust, and surrender and trust are the hallmarks of a spiritual person who believes in the creative process. That once you plant the seed, no matter how long it takes, if you water that seed, if you let the sunshine shine on that seed, if you nourish that seed, if you're patient, it will come. I promise you. So that is our lesson for today. the job moving forward is to balance your masculine and feminine energies. And on a practical level, what that could look like is that if you're if you're unbalanced, balance them. If you're used to being in the world, boom, 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 you're all stressed out, you're trying to make things happen, you're not trusting anything, there's too much conflict or anxiety, go into the stillness, get into a dark place, do some meditation, some prayer, practice being more loving, more grateful, more nourishing, nourish yourself. Women, on the other hand, the modern day woman sometimes has a hard time in the world because they're so out of balance with their feminine energy that they're not planting any seeds. They're not taking control of their own futures, their own existence. You might have to go make some declarations in life. So there's a balance, and they're both necessary to healthy, conscious living. So I wish you well. I'm going to pray. So that we can allow for the creative medium of life as a response to our prayer. Start putting the ingredients together for balance for you. All right, a couple of announcements before I pray us out. One is that if you want to do if you are spiritually fed by Sunday Night Live and you like it and want to keep supporting it, you can do a tithe or a love offering, and you can do it on my website, deniseschubert.com, or you can PayPal to Rev D. Schubert in almost any way you do, PayPal or Zelle. You can also mail checks. My mailing address is on there. If you want more past blogs, you can go to my website, deniseschubert.com. There's a lot of travel blogs in there and a lot of living life blogs. I haven't written one for a while. I don't know why, but that's okay. And also, if you love wildlife, you will see my photography, which I'm very proud of, and it's very, very meaningful to me personally. And lastly, if you're interested in spiritual coaching, if you're looking for a life coach, someone to talk to help you actually move into deeper allowing of yourself to change and how to navigate this in your world, just come to my website or call me and we can set something up. All right. So let me pray us out. Again, happy Mother's Day to anyone and everyone who's mothering, and thank you for your love and your care. Without it, everyone needs that kind of attention. By the way, you have within you the presence of feminine energy as God. God is in you and through you and as you. We're never separate or apart from God. So if you were not mothered very well in your childhood, or haven't received enough nourishment as a human being alive on this planet, it is possible to mother yourself from within, to love yourself, to nourish yourself, to take care of yourself. All of those are loving, caring, feminine qualities that live within you. All right, so let's end in prayer. So join me again at the end of our time by turning within. Just simply allowing yourself to take a deep drop into your heart space. The heart space represents this creative medium, this space, this dark, secret, silent space that is everything. And it's always there for you, always. And so we normally close our eyes just to let the outer world, the already manifested universe, be where it is. The already manifested universe. Listen, it's already been created. The carrot's already grown. And somebody's going to eat the carrot, and then they'll have to plant another carrot seed. So it's not that the world and all of its people, places, conditions, and circumstances aren't important, meaningful, or valuable, but they're temporary. As soon as new seeds are planted, there will be new things to look at and taste and touch and see. And so we open our inner eyes to gaze into that visionary space within us. And so it is there where we recognize that there is a power and a presence for infinite good, a power and a presence for infinite love, a power and a presence for unlimited wisdom. That there is no God out there. There's only a God right where you are. Ernest Holmes used to say, the only God you will ever know is the one inside of you. And so we turn to that now to affirm our harmony and alignment with it, to know that whatever it is, we are. Whatever it has, we have. Whatever it can do, we can do. And so we may not be able to do all that it can do, but certainly we can do our own piece of the pie. We can. And so what I know for each and every one of us within the sound of my voice is that we are the master chef in our own kitchen, that we can bake any kind of cake that we want, that we have unlimited resources at our bidding. So if we can think it, if we can envision it, we can make it. And so I hold for each one of us that we balance our masculine and feminine energies. We create, we declare, we let it cook, and we reap the benefits. It's just how it works around here. And so I'm so grateful for our time here together. I'm so grateful that we come just to remember that we are more than we think we are, that we are more powerful than we know we are, and that we have been given everything we can possibly be given to create lives that we love. And so I accept a life I love for myself, and I accept a life you love for you. And with that, we end our time together tonight by releasing this intention, these words, this commitment, this declaration into the creative medium, into this beautiful place within ourselves and within the universe that only and ever says yes to us. The creative medium cannot say no. It can only say yes. So give it things to say yes to. And so with that, we end our time. All is well, and so it is. Amen. All right. Peace and blessings, beloveds. I will see you next Sunday for, I don't know what yet, but whatever it is, it'll be fun. So have a wonderful evening. Be nice to yourselves and to each other. Give your mothers, grandmothers, aunts and girlfriends a hug. Thank you. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.